Okay,
Hi.
hi.
Oh, hi, Ann. Okay.
Okay, so we have a return. This is for 420 Armonk Road. He was in on the 6th of January, and we asked him to come back with amended plans. Robert? And is John in? Okay.
I
Yeah.
think John is.
Okay. Do you want to share, do you want to share your screen?
Sure. So, just a refresher, I know it's been a month. We're looking to add onto an existing house. Existing house is about 2,200 square feet. And we want to
Pictures
add.
of the show first in the site plan.
Oh, okay, yes. Okay. So this house is at 420 Armonk Road. It has been unoccupied, we think, for at least since 2007. John purchased the house last year. He is a young guy. He's got a lot of energy. He's going to restore the house. He's going to live there. He's getting married this year. He's got a lot going on. This is the front facing 420 Armonk. It's been added through the years. There's a carport here, little vestibule off the side. So all this will go. That's where the addition will sit. This is the rear. It's been buttoned up for the winter and sits on 18 acres. It's about 190 feet off of Armonk Road, which is up here. There's a good amount of trees in between Armonk Road. There is a drop in elevation. We'll climb back up towards the house. The southern view. And a Google Earth location. So this is Rosenholm Place. This is John's property. It backs up to Whippoorwill Park. Did take some pictures of some neighboring homes. They vary in look. They're fairly spread apart. Any questions on this or jump back to the plans? So the elevation, when we were last in, we kind of designed the house from the inside out, and we had windows and doors kind of matching the spaces inside. So we went back to the drawing board and kind of redid everything. We moved, there's a living room here. We moved some interior space so we can put the double French doors in the center, kind of match the existing house. And we balanced the 4 windows on either side. All the windows in the front of the house will be the same size. They were about 32 inches wide by 4 foot high. The decks will match. So going to be all replaced. Kind of think we went back with some of the comments that the board made on the last meeting and just kind of redid.
Can you show that elevation from last time just so we can see it quick before and after, so to speak?
I'd have to search for that. You want to give me a minute?
Sure.
See if I can dig it up. There we go. How about that?
Excellent.
So previously, like I said, these are bathrooms. We sized the windows according to the bathrooms. We had a door kind of off to the side because there was a closet here. So we took out the closet, took out this center window. We moved the door to the center. We resized all the windows throughout the house, the front of the house, and the other sides, which I'll show, to give it a uniform look.
Okay, can you just flip to the new one again, just quickly, so we can see?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember us talking about that. Do you guys remember, those of you that were here?
Yes, I remember.
Did we ask for any other changes? I remember.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what we asked for.
That was the only elevation, right?
You also, we didn't have windows in
I thought there
the,
was something else.
Yeah.
Maybe some blank walls.
we didn't have windows in the garage,
Uh-huh.
these windows down below. So we've added same size windows throughout to get rid of those blank walls, exactly. This is the rear of the house, does face a small elevation change, but you know, to get rid of that blank wall, we added windows throughout. We also added this window. One of the board asked about this, so this is just some open space on the second floor.
Are you reskinning this in white vinyl siding? I see a note there.
So we wanted to talk about that. You know, John's on a budget. He would like to use white vinyl siding. At the last meeting with the board, it was noted that you really don't like it. So we'd just like to have a discussion about it. You know, options, hardy plank, smooth siding, or wood, you know, which is obviously goes from one price, you know.
Hardy planks become common and I think very acceptable here. Vinyl siding, for the level of investment that you're making, you know, it's not favorable in this part of the world. When you go to sell the house, you might be hurt.
Right. So did you say hardy plank would be acceptable?
I think so. Yes, we've seen quite a few homes in hardy plank. It looks
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
It
and
doesn't need to be painted all the time.
right. Well, it's all going to be white, so I think John's open to that. We can make that change and we'll do it in hardy plank. So I think we would be fine with that.
Okay. Any comments from the board? Anybody?
No, none for me.
Yeah, it looks a lot more organized.
Claudia, you good? Okay.
Yeah, it looked like we,
Maybe just make a handwritten note over the vinyl siding to hardy plank and then submit that.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
Thank you.
The next application is 34 Old Lime Road for, let's see here. Is anyone here for 34 Old Lime?
Sure it's not 20 all line?
Hold on a second.
No, that's the next one. It's 34. You have two on Old Line.
Okay,
Do you mean, sorry, do you mean 34 Old Mill Road?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, wait a
That's,
second, I remembered. Okay, yes,
That's okay.
34 Old Mill.
we're the owners of the,
Is your architect attending?
no, he's not. But I can share okay, you do it.
Okay,
He sent a file
Just one
with all
second.
the pictures and everything.
Did we approve something in October?
no,
Okay.
that's the date of their plans.
It's not.
This is not a return. Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble sharing my screen.
Okay, let me see if I can do it.
Thank you. Why isn't it letting us do that?
Because it's saying you have to do system preference. cancel.
Okay.
Okay, can you guys see that?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just gonna scroll down and you can just say what everything is, okay?
Okay, so we had in the August storm, one of the big trees in our backyard fell on our garage and destroyed it, as you can see.
Oh,
Yeah, and it was an attached single car garage. So we are trying to rebuild the same size garage, but also add a little room right up on top of it. And so architecturally, it'll be very much in line with what the house looks like now. You know, the same color shutters, same kind of windows. And it's in line with those, that house is across from us. This brown house is on one side of us and this white house is on the other side of us. So in fact, it'll actually probably look a lot like this white house with the blue car in front. And
where is Old Mill Road?
we're in Chappaqua Ridge
Okay.
community.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
So it's like small,
Yeah, yeah.
those are smaller. And so that's a drawing of where the garage is.
You're just putting it in the same place.
Yeah,
Same
it's
place,
going to be
same
in the
footprint.
same place, same size,
Mhm.
right? Same footprint. Everything will be matched to what the house is now on the outside and what it was on the inside before. Oh, except like we're adding like a bigger window you can see in the back, so it's more light in the garage.
So you had a second, you had something above the, it almost looked like it was completely separate when you showed the photo. So not separate, but just a one story.
It was a
Right.
1-story, and so what we're adding, we're rebuilding the 1-story garage, but we're also taking this
Oh, okay.
opportunity
So
to-
you are doing more than the garage. Okay.
yeah, we're adding a little room like the same size as the garage above it.
You're putting a full second story on the garage.
Right.
And is the canopy over the front door, is that all new? That roof that's there?
No, the old garage had that before.
Can you go back to your photo, please? Got it.
So you'll see there's that tarp there because the little roof that was over the front door also got pulled off with the garage. It was attached to the garage.
You were lucky it was the garage and not the house.
We were
Yeah.
so lucky. Oh my gosh.
It missed the house by 2 feet.
Wow.
It was like a tourist attraction. People were driving by to take pictures.
Okay, can you go back to the elevations, please?
Yeah. The north elevation, did you consider to put more windows on the upper floor?
There's gonna be, do you mean on the second floor of the garage that we're adding?
Second floor
There's gonna be, I think the back is gonna be a bathroom. So it just has that one window because we have to put a tub on one side and I think the sink on the other just because it's so small.
Can we look at the plan? Because I think I looked at the plan and it looked like it was possible to add. Right there.
Yeah, the big room in the front, only
Right.
one small window in it.
So,
Well, we have the big
Oh.
window, the double window in the front of that room,
just,
and then the
you're right.
single window in the back where the bathroom is.
If we can zoom in on that plan.
And then there's also a window on the side.
There is a window on the side.
Yeah.
So here, the big room, you have just this one one window. So my question was, did you consider to put another one? Because it's
There's-
already asymmetrical. You could,
There's actually three, well, there's actually two. So the front of the room has the double windows, which
Can we go back
are
to,
pretty
can
big.
we go to the elevation? Is that the south elevation?
this one, the east
North elevation.
North.
elevation.
Right.
North elevation,
So you see on the second floor, oh, do you mean on the side? We just have the one window? That's to match the garage one window.
I think the
We also have-
suggestion is, would you consider a window on top of the door on the second floor so you can have some more fenestration?
Yeah.
I'd rather not, just because it's actually a pretty small room, and we like it would limit where we could put furniture. So that's why we have the big window in the front.
You mean the furniture would, I mean, do you know already what you're going to use that room for, or?
Yeah, we're going to use it as a bedroom, so we would have to have the bed in there. You know, once we worked out sort of roughly the measurements, it's actually very limited where we can put stuff like the nightstand, possibly a desk, because we're working from home, both of us. So it just made more sense to have the one window there.
And it's a small one-car garage with a pretty, limited footprint. So we had to actually spend quite a bit of time figuring out where things might go.
And you're
Would you
pitching,
do-
you popping up the ceiling in that room? I saw a note somewhere.
Sorry?
Are you pitching up the inside of that room? I thought I saw a
I
note somewhere.
think the architect made it like cathedral ceilings, just to give it, again, because the room is pretty small. He said, that might give it like a more open feel.
Yeah, it would. Did you ever think in the windows facing the front of doing something, some sort of a window at the top, or combined with the windows that are there, since you have the opportunity, instead of the blank pediment?
You mean like a little window above the double windows?
Yeah, there are different choices for that, but yeah.
I mean, I'd rather not. I don't know.
Yeah, I think with a window that we have, I mean, for our purposes, that would be. I mean, we're happy with the way with that window. I think it would be enough.
And I don't really want. Then we'd have to put like a curtain or something up, because I don't really like light in the room. So if we were to put, let's say, a circular window or something like that, right, to break up the squareness, it would. I don't know that would, in terms of our lifestyle, make sense. If that makes sense.
So going back to that north elevation, I think the comment was more geared towards the fact that the top floor looks a little blank. So would you consider doing a double window in place of that single window and centering it over the garage window, but then it fills up a little bit more of the elevation?
Again, that would limit, like, we literally have drawn in like with the architect where we would put each piece of furniture. And if we have a bigger window, I would love light, and that would be great, but it just is not, it's not practical.
You don't have the furniture plan that you're talking about, no? Here, so that we can look at it.
No, I mean, it's basically the bed, nightstands, a table. Hopefully we can fit in like a chair and maybe an ottoman to read in.
Just that elevation is,
Usually furniture is below the height of a windowsill unless you're putting in big wall units.
Well, I mean, the thing is, on that side of the of our house, it's a bunch of pine trees. So there's no one would be looking at that. It wouldn't be visible to anyone either. If we were to look out the top floor window, we could not see our neighbor's house.
And they wouldn't see us, and nobody would really see it from the street either.
You want to go back to the photograph?
When we're looking at the
Thank you.
photographs, one of my biggest concern is the new roof has a over a foot eve, and it seems like the existing house has no eaves whatsoever. So it's gonna, I think there's gonna be kind of a visual, some type of tension between the two, because it's not gonna look like it's part of the existing house if you have the eaves
Okay. Do
on
you,
that. And I don't know if they're, I don't know what the architect's thoughts were, the justifications for doing that versus trying to match the existing structure of how the roof meets the wall in the existing house.
you mean instead of having the roof be like this, have it be like the same way as the house right now?
No, it's just the overhang. He's talking about the overhang.
What do you mean by
Back
the
to the elevations, we'll show you what we're talking about.
Okay, thanks.
Stop right there. So if you look at the north elevation, both on the left and right side, the house at the second story is much wider than it is on the first story. And the house itself, your smaller house, is very cute and it's very kind of boxy and flat. And this looks, it does look very much like somebody put an extension on the house as opposed to growing the house that you have now.
Do you have, I think that was done because we wanted to stick to the size of the footprint of the original garage as much as possible, but in order to fit in a bathroom, there just wasn't enough space. So we bumped out a little bit, you know, the front and a little bit in the back to accommodate a few more feet, but
I don't think this affects the size of the rooms and everything. It's literally how the roof connects to the side of the wall of the house is different than your existing house.
Yeah, if you compare the south elevation to the west elevation, on the south, you can see where the roof ends and hits the wall. It's based on the other side of the existing part. It's basically flat there. There's no overhang. But if you look at on the west side, as Travis pointed out, there is, you know, about a foot overhang that the roof is sticking over the side. And if you made it consistent with the existing, it would be more in keeping with what you have already and look less like an addition and more like it was always there.
okay. I guess I don't really understand why it's bad to have something look like it's an addition as long as it's more or less, you know, like in the same vein as the house. Am I making sense?
Well, it's not in the same vein. The
Okay.
way the wall meets the roof is completely different than the existing house.
And when
Okay, so would you suggest that we have it be at the same, like the roof line be at the same level? Would that help? I think the problem with that was that the garage roof, like to make the floors, to add the second floor, we basically have to have the door come out inside the house, like midway on our stairwell that goes up to the second floor. So he had to accommodate for having to go up several steps in order to level that floor.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with the roof over the front door, the garage, or the bump out. It's really just the roof on the second floor of the addition, just cutting back the overhang. And you don't have to
To
change
make the
anything
roof
else.
flatter, kind of.
I mean, it's this overhang coming into the walls.
It's not a
not that
pit.
you stick out a little bit.
If you go to the section on page A300,
You guys focused on the eave, is that what you're talking about?
yes. There's a detail at the top of the roof that's typical eave soffit. And there's a 1 foot dimension.
Mhm.
That's not consistent with your existing house. So in my opinion, it won't look like the existing house because there's not a foot overhang on the rest of the house.
Okay, so we should have the architect revise it so that there's no overhang.
It should be consistent with the existing house. I mean, for me, I don't know what the rest of the board members think about that, but
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
That doesn't affect your space or anything else. It's just a detail where the rafters come over the walls of the house.
Okay, so we should revise it so that there's no overhang on the eave.
Well, I ask them to just match the detail that exists on the house today.
I'll just have to explain to him what the.
He'll understand. Michael he'll understand. I don't think he'll.
Oh, yeah, you had a good architect.
What?
Yeah, he's a good architect.
He's a good architect. He'll understand.
Okay.
Okay, so if I just tell him to match the detail that exists on the house, he'll know what he needs to do.
Tell
Well,
him
specific
roof
to the
eave.
eve.
The
Specific.
detail, the roof eave, yeah.
Okay.
Specific to, okay.
Going to place you on the next agenda, which is for February 17th.
Okay, so we should have him revise it and send it to you guys again, and then we'll meet again on February 17th.
Yes, just have him email me the revised plans so that I can forward it to the board, and then I'll add you on the agenda.
Okay, thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you.
Night. Thank you.
Okay, so the next one is 20 Old Lime Road. Hi, Lou.
Hi, Daisy. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Lou DeMacy. I'm the architect for the project. Daisy, can I share the screen?
Yep.
So, let's see. So the property is located here on Old Lime, number 20. What we were trying to do is update the house a little bit, give it a little bit more curb appeal. What we'd like to do is add a front porch. Actually, I'll start off with the front elevation. This is the existing house as it is today. So what we're looking to do is add a front porch to this area here. That I'll demonstrate on the drawings.
You
And
need
just
to scroll.
The aerials, anybody else?
Yeah, you need to scroll
scroll.
we're just seeing your Google shot.
Try this again. That's the aerial. So share. How about now? Is it there now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Front elevation. So what we're looking to do is add a front porch in this area right here and update the look of the house, basically. Change the siding to a hardy plank white siding, update the windows a little bit, and like I said, add a front porch to this. So let's see.
So that image isn't in your pack, right?
Front elevation?
Yeah.
No, it was not.
Okay.
I had a, I got it. I'm sorry about doing it this way. It's just, it's not working today. In the packet was,
Yeah, it's like a obscured.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to do justice to the
Yeah.
meeting
Okay.
here. So I found a better, a realtor picture that had the front elevation. So I figured that would be more helpful. As far as the, let's try to do this. Some of the neighboring houses. This is next door.
I don't see it.
We can't see anything.
Easy. I'm usually much better at this. I apologize. Let's try that. Let's see. Neighboring houses. How about now?
No, still not.
Yeah.
No?
Now yet.
Neighbor house.
You have a neighbor's house.
Oh,
Yeah, that's,
oh, we lost it.
yep. That's, I was trying to show the neighbors' houses next. Can you see this photo?
No, we can see you.
You can see me. Okay. Why is this not working today? Hey, now?
Yes.
Okay. Neighbor's house?
Maybe Daisy should share, or I could share, or someone.
Yeah, if
Do
you,
we have the neighbors' houses on the,
Yeah, it's all on there.
Yeah.
It's at the end.
I mean, can I go through the architectural drawings, or do you want to see the neighbors' houses?
Yes.
Houses.
Go ahead.
I mean, I've seen them. Oh. Starts at page 11, Daisy. Oh, yeah.
Yep. That's the existing house. Here's the aerial. Neighbor's house to the left. Neighbor's house to the right. Across the street. Also across the street. And this is directly across the street from the subject house. Architectural plans, that's the rear elevation, just refurbishing the deck on the rear. Side elevation, no change to it. That's the right side. Other side, same thing, just no changes to it. And then this is the front elevation, first page. Right, one more. Right there's a front elevation. So this is where we're adding the front porch. Basically a roof structure, kind of matching the same pitch, 3 square columns, a railing per code because it's more than 30 inches, and we'll have like a hand railing on the side to match the railing itself. So we, working with the owner, we thought this was give it a nicer look to the house. So I'd be open to any questions if there are any.
That's all you're changing in the front?
Yeah,
Just the-
I'm changing the front portico and the double window for the dining room.
I like it.
Yeah, it looks good.
Thank you.
So you said something in the back, though? You're doing something with the deck?
Just refurbishing the deck. It's falling apart, so we're changing the railing.
Oh, it's just the same.
It's the same deck, yeah, just redoing it.
all good?
Looks fine.
Yep.
All right. Have a good night, Lou.
All right, thank you. Thanks so much.
Okay, the next one is 51 Ludlow Drive.
Hi, my name is Brad DeMott. I'm representing David Jessuris, who's with us tonight. We are proposing a second-story addition above an existing garage. And let's start with a site plan. This is the house was built in 37. It's a center hall colonial, and it's non-conforming in that it encroaches on 3 of the setbacks. And that garage, which you can see in that dark brown, is over the setback, 2 setbacks. And we got a variance approved last week for encroaching on those same setbacks. What we're proposing to do is to tear that roof off and build a second-story addition above it, which you can see here. And let me also find an existing photo. There we go. All right, so here's some photos of the existing garage. It's a simple 1-story gable roof. Garage doors on the front. So we're proposing to remove the roof, build roughly 3-foot high knee walls, and then frame another, just a slightly taller version of this with 2 gable dormers to the front and a shed dormer to the rear. And let's go back to that elevation. And so here you can see, here's the front elevation. The addition really is matching both existing house as well as existing garage. While the house has cedar shingles, the existing garage has a 10-inch exposure cedar clapboard siding, which we're gonna keep on the garage and then match. We're replacing the garage doors with carriage style doors. We have the two gable dormers centered over the doors. All these are again just really matching, really taking all our clues from the existing house. We have flush rakes on the gable end of the garage addition, as well as on the dormers, and you have a shed dormer on the rear, and also on this side elevation. So this is there's currently one window in the front of one window on the end wall of that garage, and we're removing that and replacing it with two single windows. And then up above on the gable end wall of that garage, we have what we'll call a feature window, which is 3 trapezoids, and taking our inspiration from, let's see if I can find it. Well, this is existing house again from the front. Let me find.
Have you seen the neighbors' houses? What do the neighboring houses look like?
Well, there's only, let's go back to that. Let's talk about that for a second. There's the house is sited interestingly because the house really doesn't face Ludlow Drive. The way the house sits on the property, it's skewed. I'm not finding what I want here. Let's see. Okay, so this is the only house, and I'll come back to a bigger context in a second. This is the only house that has a view of the end wall of the garage. This house shares the common driveway with the Jeshubas, and this house really drops off and sits well below their property. And this is a bigger picture of just contextually. So here's the house, and you can see the front of the house really kind of almost faces the corner of the property. Doesn't really address Ludlow at all. And this is the common driveway. It's a private driveway to go to the Jeshubas property, and then here's this one other, the one adjacent house, and that would be the only house that could really see that gable end wall of the garage. And we realize, obviously, this is a very, the existing house is a very straightforward center hall colonial, and but we're looking to do something a little different and a little fun in that room, which is really going to be a playroom, and kind of taking our clue from this photo as an inspiration. And I'm not really sure how they did this anyway, because that's a big piece of glass. but really, we just really want to open up that end wall for just to maximize the view and bring some light in. And then these are just again, you can see this is just the plan. A couple of gable dormers to the front, the big short shed dormer to the rear. Here you can see this is the rear elevation. On the bottom of the sheet, there's the shed dormer with 5 windows across there. In that one other side elevation, the left side elevation, that's just an existing door in the garage, and that there are no ways to put windows in this end wall because of what's going on behind it in plan. That's it in terms of comments. Presentation.
Did you say that the new part is going to be siding and the old part is shingle?
Well, the house is cedar shingle currently.
Yeah.
The existing garage is cedar clapboard, about a 10-inch exposure. And we're gonna keep that on the garage. Well, we're removing it and replacing it, but the garage will all be the same color, and just a different siding.
So from the inside, if I understand correctly, each side is going to have a different windows on the second floor?
On the addition, well, you have the 2 gable dormers to the front, you have a shed dormer to the rear, right? And those front and rear, those are all double hungs with SDL grills. And then we have the trapezoidal window on the end wall.
Did you consider breaking that window up in with some horizontal bands so that you could still get the full glass, but break the scale up a little bit? Because it really doesn't look anything like the house of the neighborhood.
No, we understand that. Well, we've tried, we looked at numerous different schemes and just variations of different types of windows with and without grills and even some arch tops and we settled on this. Again, this is just going back to existing house. And you can see it's, you know, just in terms of siding, you have cedar shingle on the house and cedar clapboard on the garage. And it's all the same color. It really does similar exposure.
So you have, on one side, you have two dormers. On one side, you have this big bay of windows. And on the other side, you have a row of double hung windows, yes?
Yes.
And that works with your plan, I mean, yes.
Yeah, again, this is the shed dormer to the rear.
Yeah.
Would be very typical for a structure like this with low knee walls, just to pick up floor space and headroom.
No, I don't, yeah, I'm talking about the windows, that each elevation has a completely different windows.
Well, they're not different. There are gable windows. There are double hung windows in the gable dormers on the front elevation. There are double hung windows in the shed dormer on the rear elevation.
And the inside is one big room with a vaulted ceiling? Is that
Yeah,
right?
right.
So you're gonna look to three sides and you have three very different situations. Is that what you're alluding to, Cory?
You have the plan?
Like on the left side elevation, these windows up here, the ones on the right of the left side elevation are just 1/1 double hung windows.
One's on the right of the left side elevation. Those are all existing windows. And there
I
are,
understand, but I'm just pointing out what Claudia is saying, that there are a lot of different kinds of windows
In the same space.
throughout the house.
well, that's what we're starting with. No, most of the windows are double hung windows.
Right. What?
No, the house was added on to numerous times. But for the most part, they're all double hungs with the exception of, you know, there's a couple casements at the rear wall of the kitchen here.
And I just, hi, it's David. I think if Brad, if you go to the
But
picture,
in the
how it
addition that
looks.
you're doing,
Can we just look at quickly at the plan of the second, that addition second floor
Yeah, there you go.
and zoom in that if possible?
Excuse me?
Could you zoom in on that area if possible?
So it's an L-shaped stair that's enclosed. We're separating it from the space below, and then there's a small storage room in that left rear corner, and the rest of it is one big space.
Mm-hmm.
I think the precedent image that you showed with the windows, I think that was really successful because it looked like maybe there's something else behind the picture, but it looked like there weren't any other windows in the space and it was just focused on that one elevation. I think and sorry, my audio was cutting in and out before, so I didn't catch everything, but you know, I think it's understandable that the house over time would have kind of different style windows added on, but this is an addition where there's 3 different styles that are being added all at the same time. So if there's a way to make them more cohesive and look like, you know, even if it's an addition, but it's an addition that was done all at the same time and relates to itself, that might be more successful.
Right. Well, in the addition, there are only 2 styles of windows. There are double hung windows on the front and rear elevation, and there are the picture windows on the gable end wall.
But on the front and the rear, they're done. One's like a dormer and one's that is a strip of windows, right?
That's a shed dormer. The shed dormer has nothing to do with the windows.
The shed dormer has all the windows, yes?
Yeah.
So,
This is the shed dormer
right, with the windows. Yeah,
with 5 windows.
yeah.
Yeah, so what you're saying is the individual windows in that band of 5 is the same as the individual in the dormer, is that what you say?
They're all double hung windows.
Okay, they're the same windows? Are they 8/8 or 6/6 or whatever with,
Well, they're different size windows. The windows on the rear are taller, and these are 8/8s, and the ones in the gable dormers are smaller, being 6/6s, and that's really based on the proportions of the dormers.
comments, Travis, Ann? I'm just struggling with the
I
big.
mean, it's the picture windows that are bothering me a little. And I think your suggestion, if there were, some horizontals in there, there'd be a little bit more connection to the rest of the windows throughout the house. I understand you want a big, you want that nice light coming through, but
Yeah,
just so inconsistent that.
well, hi, it's David.
Hi.
I think this is my first time doing this, but so just make
Fine.
sure. Just because obviously Brad took my sort of direction as to what I wanted for that room. I really love light. Part of where these things live in Chappaqua, trees. It's beautiful. You look outside. To separate that window into a kind of a grid or feels like a cage, I almost would just completely eliminate it. And then what would we revert to is frankly almost like a room, sort of a big room with a small window on the end. And I really didn't like the idea of walking up those stairs and you're looking at this nice 10-foot high ceiling at the peak. And it'll be a very flush peak, so beautiful top to the ceiling. And you look at a boring square window. And I thought, when I look at additions that are being done today, not just to Chappaqua, but all over, a lot of folks are thinking about, I would guess, a contemporary flourish to a colonial house or a farmhouse, which this is not, but you often see not just being stuck into what this house was done, which is 1937. And one of the things I struggle with in this house is frankly the lack of light. It's a very hilly area. All the trees are 50 feet high, and the where this room will face, it only gets sun in the morning effectively. If you think about the front of the house, which faces south, you would say doesn't light come in there, but the fact is that this in front of the house, it's sloping, so virtually no light will come into that room. So really making this room feel airy. Really feels great to me. And there are houses, frankly, nearby that have something similar. I live on Ludlow Drive. If you go all the way down Ludlow Drive, which is half a mile, there's a house that has a very similar addition that has bigger, more contemporary windows than this. There's another house on Ludlow Drive with a big, giant square window on the side. I think you guys recommended for Devo Road, very similar trapezoidal window on top of a screened-in room that was glass. I think you just told the folks below before recommended glass window. So there's a lot of reasons I asked for this. I get it. It's helping the house evolve, but I think just keeping it stuck in this style of 1937, I love that for the front. And I want people to approach the house and say, this is beautiful, looks like a traditional Chappaqua house. But for a window that no one will see, to me, the benefit is really the maximization of enjoying it from the inside and making sure outside it makes sense, but not getting overly focused on a view that only I will look at, because no one's going to walk in the side yard besides me or my wife or my kids or somebody or the dog. That's about it. So that's my rationale, and I appreciate the input, but I thought it would help you giving my views.
Yeah, no, I actually don't mind that the big window. For me, what is a little bit bothersome, and I I don't actually, the elevations are okay. What bothers me that within this one space, you have 3 different treatments of the windows. So I was just like, on its own, they fit in, but the quality of the interior space, it may be compromised by having 3 different treatments of 3 different walls. And for example, and I know that they're all double hanged on those both sides, but because there are 2 dormers and the other is a shed with a whole series of 5 together, I just, I thought maybe having a shed dormer above the garage entrance, maybe that would unify a little bit those 2 sides. I don't know what you.
Yeah, I understand when you're talking about windows, you're talking really about dormers, I guess, is my understanding correctly. I like the reasons for why Brad put them in. And so where Brad started, originally this roof, or the roof on the 2nd story addition of the garage was actually higher. And I asked him to bring it down because I didn't, the house is very wide, obviously, and I didn't want it to look like one long Lego block, or pieces of Legos attached. And so I asked him to bring the roof down a bit on the garage, and I think that helped visually. And along the way, we talked about dormers, and I think not having a shed dormer in the front of the house looks nicer. I don't mean to offend anybody if they have a shed dormer in the front of the house, but that's just my own personal opinion on what looks better. And I don't know if you agree or disagree, but that's just, I think that looks better on the approach. And on the back, I think what happens then, because, and Brad mentioned the 3-foot-high knee wall, and part of when I asked to bring the roof down was now we just lost more usable space, and I didn't want to feel like a tunnel in there. And it's supposed to be a playroom, supposed to be somewhat flexible in what I use it for, or my family uses it for, and kids are gonna get bigger, they're only 6 and 4, and they're gonna grow. I don't want them to feel like they only can stand in certain parts of the room. So I think the shed dormer just frankly added space. And I hear your concerns about wishing the windows are more uniform across the house. I too wish that. You can't see the shrubbery. There's like a million bushes and shrubs and all this, and it's very almost hard to see all the house together because it's sort of on a small hill or an incline. On top of that incline, you're looking at the back, and because the trees are really well grown, the part of the garage is actually near a pool area, so it's very private, and you can never really see all of the back of the house at once. And maybe Brad, if you have a picture of what the back of the house looks like in reality, you can sort of see there, like it does get broken up. And this is in the fall. In the summer or in the spring, there's more leaf cover. And if you're on the backyard, which is to the right of the pool fence there's a giant rhododendron that's, I don't know, 15 feet high and 40 feet wide. And it's generally, you can never actually see the garage if you're looking at the heat style, I don't know what you call it, gable roofs on the right side of the house. So I understand your concerns, but it's almost impossible to sort of see that view that I think is concerning.
And as far as the issue where the comment about different dormers on the front and the rear, I would just respectfully disagree, because I think this is very, very common to have gable dormers on the front and a shed dormer on the rear. I do it all the time. I see it all the time.
Right, but here you're introducing also on the other side a completely different window. So that makes it even, 3 different treatments. So this is not a typical treatment, even if it's common to have on one side.
But it sounds like your concern is the fact that there are gable dormers on the front and there's a shed dormer on the rear. I would not put a shed dormer on the front of this garage.
Right, but then maybe it's just that you have completely different, windows on each wall that you are adding. So
Well,
that was mine.
They're not windows that are the exact same size. They don't need to be the same size. It's okay to have windows that are slightly different sizes in the same room for whatever reason. And in this case, I mean, we could make the windows on the rear elevation, we could make them taller. We can make them taller than we could the ones on the front elevation.
Mhm.
You know, and the ones in the front, again, it's really about, you know, scale and proportion of the dormers. I'm not going to make the dormers wider just so we can make a wider window that's going to match the size of the window in the shed dormer on the rear elevation.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the elevation on its own. It's just that the quality of the interior space that I think that it may be very, you know, a little chaotic. But if you don't, you know, on its own, each elevation looks all right to me. But together within the space to have those three different ways of treating the windows, it a little bothered me a little bit.
You would like though that I'm putting in bigger windows into the master bedroom than they are today because I don't like how small they look relative to everything else. So unaware that you were going to have an issue specifically with this, but we are doing some work to make the house match more of what's being done.
It's not the size, it's the way they are, you know, the composition of them basically. It's
and I think
I tend to agree with Claudia. I mean, I think the elevations are done nicely. I mean, there's just enough randomness to it that they seem to work. But it's just hard, I think, to go back to her point. It's very hard to actually visualize inside of that space, which, I mean, that's up to you, but I think the elevations do work.
Yeah.
There's just, you know, there's just enough randomness with all the kind of the sections of the house that.
Yeah, when I imagine using that room, you know, I guess because the house does not have a very high ceilings, so the knee, I think you call it.
Oh, it could be a beautiful space as well. It's just hard to visualize just as Claudia said, the you know the different kind of little shapes and things going on in the ceiling there, but it could be a wonderful space. I'm sure with the light, it will be a wonderful space.
Yeah, and I think the shed dormer to me allows more functionality in there. Otherwise, you're sort of stuffing everything. I almost imagine if it had gable dormers on both sides.
Oh yeah,
into these
the shed
slots.
dormer, you pick up floor space and headroom. That's the whole reason for the shed dormer with such a low roof, the main roof.
Yeah, so I don't want like you know, a chair in one dormer or something else. You know, I'd like to have like if it was a seating area or something up there like along the shed dormer, so the middle of the floor. I love open floor space, so not crowding the middle of the room where the ceiling is high enough and allowing the shed dormer to have more of that functionality would keep the middle open and allow me and my family to enjoy the space versus feel crowded. And I think if you did it like that, you really just get like 10 feet or so across before I become too tall. And that's the reason we're asking for an addition now, because the ceiling is just it's too low as is. So bumping it up actually 3 feet.
All right. Well, if you feel very strongly about it, I don't have objection because, you know, it's, you understand. You understand my point, but if you feel that this is the best solution, again, they work on its own, so it's okay with me.
Let's try to tie this up, I guess. You know, again, my comment is I'm okay with the fenestration on the front and back, and I also, you know, I think they're handsomely done. I agree with Claudia. I think the inside of one big room with three things looking different is a little unusual and maybe a little jarring. You know, I'm still struggling a little bit with the side elevation with the big glass. I think there are other ways to give you the glass and light that you want. I think the image you showed us, I totally agree with Sarah. I think that the look of that is because it's a tunnel and you're looking out at, you know, glass at the end of a tunnel. Here you've got different volumes on left and right, and you've got windows on left and right. And I personally think you're over personalizing the house. I guess I'm not going to I'm not going to object, I guess, if it's something you really want. But I do think that, you know, when the time comes that you go turn over the house, that the next person isn't going to, you know, appreciate it the way you do. And I do think there are other ways you could get the light and openness that you want with something that fit more with the house.
Yeah,
appreciate that. Thank you.
I completely agree with you, Bob. I don't have a problem with the front or the back. And I can really appreciate the idea about doing something more contemporary. I don't think you have to stick with the style, but for that contemporary piece to have no relation to anything else in the house is a little odd. I think there's a way to do it to make it relate to something else. And I agree, maybe it's the horizontal mullion at the, it doesn't have to be a grid, but something just to tie it to the rest of the space, because right now it doesn't relate to anything, and I've got a problem with that.
Yeah, and Brad and I are, and I personally I drew a million grids. Either what about this? What about that? What about that? And I understand, Robert. Maybe I like it, and in 40 years when I'm dead, and the house gets sold by my estate, someone's gonna walk up the stairs and say, "I don't like that window," and I'm not paying for it. But you know, frankly, the house that we're designing is for us to live in forever, and I'm not really trying to worry about, well, if I sell it in 5 years, that I just lose $30,000 or whatever it is to take the window out and put a wall in there or something else. I do understand your concern about making sure we don't do anything stupid, but I think it's more to your point, a personal choice of what, you know, we just like to see.
Okay. Okay, last comments, anybody? All right, you're approved.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Sorry, I thought I was talking the whole time. Uh, we have TO for 16 Bessel Lane. It's a new residence going in. Hi, TO.
Good evening, board members,
Hello.
Mr. DePaul, Daisy.
Hi.
Thank you for having me here with you. Steve loves to come to present his own work to you. And he told me that it's one of the boards that he enjoys working with the best.
Is that Steve Tavolacci?
Steve Tavolacci, he says, please apologize to them that I couldn't attend and I just had to send you. So thank you so much. I would like to share my screen and give you a little overview of the project. We have an overview here of the property. This one particular property was a loss during a fire about 5 years ago, and Steve has purchased this lot, and he's looking to create a new residence. The structure pretty much will substantially remain in its original location. You can see here, you know, that's probably right after the fire, and you know, it has a driveway, and that continues to the back towards the garages, and you have a pool in here, terraces in the back, and the property slopes down and it opens to some distance views in the horizon. You have the site planning here from the engineer that you can see again. You know, the structure installed pretty much in the same location as the former residence. You have the driveway and again, the small motor court coming into garages in the back. In the front, you have the public spaces, and in the back, you know, the private spaces, kitchen, breakfast room, family room, living room, and so forth. The architecture of the house, as you can see here in the elevations, is using traditional roof lines. You have gables for the most part, some shed accents here, and to get his homes fitting with the neighborhood. Although the neighborhood again has a variety of structures. Some of them ranging from shingle style, for some more of a colonial look, and one even very modern. So the house that we are trying to create is again, a more traditional roof lines with a shingle siding and some accents of a vertical shiplap siding, all done with cedar, painted. The roof will be an architectural grade fiberglass shingle with some metal accents, like in the entry porch and so forth. That will be the front elevation here. Very simple roof lines, as I say. They are casement windows, some of them with transoms, and the back vocabulary, if you will. You have gables, the large gable going across, very simple, very soft roof lines, and but there's a little variety and trying to create a unity overall. In the lower area of the house, there will be some stonework just to break the height that we have in here. There's a small porch in the back, and so some of the railings will be done in metal. Here we have the garage sides with the gable configurations again, some window alignments and some centering of windows, and others that live their own life based on the interior of the rooms. You have in here towards the end, there's a couple of structures that we couldn't photograph because they are internal. Single style home, a very modern home at the end of the run. Other shingle style also, and this one a little more traditional farmhouse, perhaps, or colonial in style. Thank you for listening, and I'm open to any of your questions.
I think it looks great. Comments from the board?
Thank you.
Claudia, Sarah, anything?
I think it looks like a nice project.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, I like it too.
Okay, good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, board members. Mr. DePaul, Daisy, you will have a great evening. Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Okay, we have the next is Sid for 3 Petersville Road. Sid?
Yeah, I'm here, sorry.
Hi.
Let me get this video. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll start with the site plan. This is an existing house from 1939. Petersville Road has maybe 11 or 12 houses on it. This is the only one, or one of 2, that have not been knocked down into big mega houses. The history of it, just real quick, there's a pool and a tennis court on it. Apparently it was the community pool and tennis court from many years ago that all the neighbors would come and use. And then I guess in the 50s, the lots got divided up and it went along with this house, which is the smallest house. The proposal for this application is, it's kind of odd in terms of front, rear, and sides, but the true front door is here, which is nothing faces a public street. It's a private road. And then Bedford Road 117 is way over here with a big fence and trees. So nothing's really visible, but the front door is here, which really functions as the rear of the house or a side of the house. The proposed application is to build a portico there. Right now, there's just a little bit of an overhang to build a 4-foot portico there. And then on where you see this dark line here that's hatched in above, expand the garage and build a deck over it from the kitchen with a large glass window. And then all the windows of the house will be replaced with Marvin black windows. So I'll just go for some photos here. Here is the existing, this is actually, so this is the front of the house, the front door. So this is where we'd like to build a portico with 2 columns, same shape, same kind of style, metal roof, windows to be black, and kind of keep it quaint. Then I'll show you, this is the garage side, driveway. I don't know if call it back or front, but the garage is really tiny. It's about 18, 19 feet deep, can barely fit a car in. So we're going to build out about 4 or 5 feet to here and square it off and put in 1 large black garage door. The opening is 16 feet maximum. These 3 small windows here are a 16-foot glass door. Everything will be black windows, and this existing foundation, just the porch foundation, will be stone, similar to, you see some stone walls here. There are stone walls throughout the property, similar veneer or real stone throughout that foundation wall. This is a view. There are actually 2 driveways. This is an upper gravel driveway. This is going to be a black door. This window is getting closed off. This is going to be kind of a landscape green wall. This is, even though it's a private road, a lot of people use this road to go on walks and go bicycle riding and things. So it's important that this is very private. So all on the interior here is the kitchen. All the cabinets will be put there. And the focus is towards the other side of the property, which has a pond. It's very beautiful on the other side. Let's see where we are here. This gives you an overview of the project. So the house is here. It's actually combined with this lot here. So the pool is here, the tennis court's here, but the house is over here. This is the property. So this is Bedford Road. This is Petersville. So these houses here are, 6, 8, 9,000 square feet. So the project, the garage addition is here, and then the portico is on the other side, which is the front door. I'll just take you to a couple neighbors' photos that we were able, not many of them are visible. Where did they go? Sorry. Maybe another page. Just a quick in plan. This is the garage level. You can see building out 5 feet just to extend it and do 1 large door in the driveway there. So that's the lowest level. Then on the first floor, there's actually a renovation going on now, the interior for the kitchen, but you can see this whole wall here is all the kitchen and then an island, and this is a giant glass door that you'll see in a second in the rendering, among some other interior items. And in terms of elevations, this is where the front door portico will be. This will be the green wall and landscaping, and then the black glass door to the mudroom. Everything else stays the same except for the window colors. This is the rear elevation proposed, which will have this large 16-foot door, cable railing, a little bit of modernization to the 1930s home, and the windows will all be 2/2 black Marvin, the elevate windows. Sorry, the doors also similar grills, very simplifying it a bit. And you can see the stone here gets throughout. And then the rendering kind of helps put it all together. This is the back of the house. So all glass in the kitchen, This is the built out 5 feet with a small deck, and this is faces a lot of sun in this area, faces, I guess, south or southwest, southeast. And so all the windows, black stone veneer. This side, no change. Here's the garage here, not many changes other than the color and style of the windows, but all the openings remain the same. This is that driveway that you saw. So we're putting the door here. This is the proposed portico here. It's actually shown here with, I think originally there must have been copper Yankee gutters that got covered somehow with white gutters. So this is shown as brown. It's actually going to be black, although I like the brown. And here's a view basically of the front. This is the real front of the house, the front door. So that's kind of the overall scope.
So when you say green wall, nothing is actually going to be affixed to the wall. It's just planting in front of it.
It's plantings. There might be like some lattice there with some ivy growing, but yeah, it'll be an interesting wall, which won't have windows, just a glass door, and just, you know, the white gravel. We feel it's like kind of a nice. I wasn't able to do the lattice and green there, but yeah, it'll definitely be a low plantings and high plantings.
So trying to be 4 seasons, or in the winter will it?
I would like 4 seasons. Yes, green all year round.
There are the big blank walls that you don't have windows in?
I'm sorry?
Is there a reason the big blank walls?
Yeah, I kind of went through that because this is the one spot that's closest to the road that people use, and people walk up and down here all the time. So it's very important that it's private. This is the kitchen, and functionally the kitchen layout, if you see here, the kitchen layout is this wall here. So there used to be one window, and instead of a window, we're putting in a glass door. So in terms of glass, it's more than it was, but this is a very functional wall. Everything tall, refrigerator, wall, oven, cabinets, everything will be against this wall. Then there's an island, and then the focus is towards the pond, towards the grass area, towards this way. So this 16-foot glass makes up for any lack on the other wall, and it's very important to focus that way for privacy and for function. And there is a window here on the side, and that's staying.
What about on the left side behind, you know, where the mudroom is? That's all blank.
Yeah, that's a glass door.
No, to
on the left side, no. It's a tiny mudroom. We need someplace to hang coats and you know, some tall things here. So there is a window. It's actually not even shown here on the stairs down to the garage. There is an existing window there. Let me see if I have it. Should be in the elevation. Yeah, there is a window here. This is the wall by the mudroom. There's an existing window here, which is actually for the stairs going down to the garage. And yeah, I think it's very well balanced. And then use, you know, and also I just wanted to show you here, this landscaping is actually pretty accurate. And I'll show you the photo again in a second, but there's a generator here. There's lots of hidden things here behind the landscaping. So it really, whatever is behind here, there is a window, is not that critical for exterior or interior appearance or function. Let me see if I can get a good view of that area.
But you're not going to plant the tree that's 9 feet, the bush that's 9 feet tall right away.
Right here, this is where you're talking about, right where this existing landscaping is.
So there's no
actually
window.
9 feet, yeah.
Okay, it is.
Yeah.
There's no window behind these trees.
There's a window behind this bush, which is for the stairs that go.
Oh, that's the wall that you're
down
talking
to the
about.
grass, the wall, yeah.
Yeah, in this instance, if you go back to that photo, I'm
Which one?
actually Yeah, and the rendering too. I actually don't. If you plant that wall there, I don't mind it not having windows because it's almost like the first layer to get to the main house.
Right. I don't want it to be part of the main house exactly. It should be perceived as secondary. The main house is brick. It's actually really good wood. It's a painted cedar, but it's almost like secondary. I think there was a maid's room there. So in terms of perception, we don't want to take away from the main house anyway. So I agree with you.
And you're doing a new portico in the front. In the back, there's a little roof overhang that's got
Yes,
two.
that one has a shed roof. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's staying. Let me see if I have a.
Is that
I
there?
don't think you have a picture. I think it's right.
Yeah, it's hidden in this one. It's on the rendering. You can see it here as a shed roof.
Existing.
It's pretty
Yeah, it's-
accurate. Yeah, it is
Looks so
staying.
proportionally small.
Yeah, right. It looks like it doesn't want columns. Yeah.
It has two columns that really need help. Let me see. I don't have the photo, but this is pretty accurate to how it is.
But that's
So-
existing. You're not doing anything to it.
No, we're not doing anything to it. We might spruce up the bottom, put in a base, and it's a square. I think it's a 4x4. It's kind of skinny, so we're gonna maybe spruce it up and wrap it, but it's staying. The roof is staying. It's slate. I don't want to touch too much of any of the slate.
I like how the big windows, and big doors look with the railing. I think it's
Oh, it
Yeah,
looks
it's gonna be
great.
really nice, and it's a good opportunity to do the modernist. Sometimes it's too much here. It's kind of the back of the house, and I think it'll work really well.
Yeah, no, I like the treatment of the black and white, but yeah, and again, the only thing I had a little bit of a problem with that green wall and getting rid of that tiny window because, but I know you're adding the door but it's actually looks kind of quirky and kind of nice in the existing.
Yeah,
It has a little charm, when you go to the existing facade behind that new green wall. That was the only thing, but I understand with your layout of the kitchen that you don't want to.
yeah, I think it's a small sacrifice, and it's actually, I think it works in the positive. And this door actually is full glass, not just half, so it's going to be full, all glass.
It looks half on the rendering.
Yeah, the photograph of that area looked more flattering than this kind of almost. So,
Is there a wall between the bedroom and the kitchen, or is it all?
There was, the door to the garage was outdoors, and it was almost like a covered porch with a half wall. That's actually already been, it was during the process, it was kind of, hey, you can see the original plan. It was an existing covered porch, and you would have to come out of the door and then go to be outside and then go down. So this kind of got enclosed already, and actually the building inspector was out there. It said it was okay, inspected it. In terms of, because it was during the course of this renovation, it was just weather-wise just needed to be enclosed. These things were not in good condition. So the new plan is just to stay, the existing roof stayed, so there's no new roof. It's all done underneath the existing structure. It might have even been closed at one point. I don't know. It was kind of odd. Let me see if I could get to, this is you can see here,
Right.
the column, and there was a railing, and there was a piece of wall. So I don't know if it was ever enclosed previously, but we were able to, we have a lot of this siding that we're able to reuse. It's actually beautiful cedar siding painted.
Yeah.
okay, any other comments?
Okay.
No,
No,
I think it looks good. I think, personally, I might want a side light with that door, but that's my personal.
The front door?
No, the little door that's in the
Oh, well, it's
glass
full,
door. But
it's full glass. I mean, it's going to be,
yeah,
yeah.
that's just me though.
Okay.
No, I think it looks fine.
Thank you.
Okay, you're approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
night.
Okay, So our last application is 30 Hemlock Hills. Rocco?
Good evening, everyone. Hi, Daisy.
Hello.
Thank you for all your help in getting me here. Let's see, share my screen. Hey, can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so this is 30 Hemlock Hills. My name is Rocco DeLeo. I'm the architect for this project, representing the clients Claudio and Margaret Machado, who just recently purchased this home about 8 months ago. Longtime residences of Chappaqua, and this property came along, and they loved and love, excuse me, the charm of this home, the property, and the general concept of this project was predominantly to embrace the architecture that's on the house, rather than designing something that didn't fit the vernacular and the vocabulary that exists there. The house was built in 1935. It was designed by Charles Lewis Bowman, who's a prominent architect back in the day in the Westchester County area. And the house we're about to see is a 6,400 square foot, approximately 6,400 square feet English country manor home, sitting pretty much center of a 10-acre piece of property. On the property, off on the north side or north east side of the property is a pool house structure, a tennis court, and a pool that you cannot see from the property. And then this is the principal dwelling structure. Access to it is from Hemlock Hills. I apologize for just the old outdated survey, but this is all that they had on record. But as you drive up this winding driveway, you come around to this driveway that leads you right to the front of the house. So the front of the house actually faces east, and the back of the house faces the road, Hemlock Hills.
This is behind, I'm looking over here. This is behind Gedney?
So to give you an understanding of where this is right off of Campfire Road.
Okay.
And then it is the last house on Hemlock Hills. You cannot see this house from the road.
Pretty house.
It's gorgeous. So moving on to show some of the neighboring homes. Again, from the property, you can't see many homes, and even from Hemlock Hills, there are very few homes you can see as well. So just to give some context of the neighborhood, we actually plucked some homes that you could see from the road, even from the adjacent road, Hardscrabble Road. This is one of the homes that is the neighbor of 30 Hemlock Hills. This being another one that is across the street. Another. This is actually what the pool house looks like on the property. And then these are some homes that are on Hemlock Hills. I mean, excuse me, on Hardscrabble Road. Another house on Hemlock Hills. And then this is an image of what 30 Hemlock Hills, this current project that we're speaking of, looks like. So the scope of the work here is to add an addition to the north side of the house that will hold an outdoor covered patio that is immediately off of what's going to be a new breakfast room, and beyond that, a kitchen. This is the basement level, and actually let me just pop up to the first floor level. So this being the covered porch, it's about 499 square feet. Again, it has a roof structure over it, and it being on access to a new breakfast room, as well as to a renovated kitchen, the kitchen being in this existing area. The clients love dining al fresco. The only other covered patio that exists on the property is on the south side of the house, on the complete opposite side of where the kitchen is. And they wanted to recreate something similar to what's happening on the south side, on the north side, for them to enjoy on a daily basis. The program for the patio, covered patio, was predominantly just to hold an outdoor dining table, an outdoor barbecue cooking station that'll have an integral vented hood built into a soffit. And then on the back side of it, Mr. Machado has this coal-fired, what's called from Weber, a big green egg, but it's where he barbecues all of his steaks and whatnot, and that's what's taking place here on the backside. In addition to this, currently, I'll show you on the existing floor plans. This is what the floor plan currently looks like. So you can see that we're expanding the kitchen into this area and converting this existing enclosed porch as part of the kitchen, as you can see here. So we're working with the existing staircase. We're working with the existing exterior door. We're also working with the existing screened opening and just replacing the screen with glass. Again, taking the philosophy of this project and making sure everything that we do here ties into the vocabulary of the architecture that Charles Louis Bowman designed back in 1935. On the front side of this porch, there are two sets of stairs that lead down to ultimately a path that'll lead to this existing driveway. On the north face of this addition, there will be two arched stone openings. And on the west face, there will be, again, two arched openings, but done out of trimmed wood and siding. Moving on, so we're on the second floor. Again, this is a roof plan over this new porch, this new porch that I just spoke of. And the other part of the addition is on the second floor in this area right here. The clients wanted to convert a very small bedroom into a larger entertainment space, and in effect creating more floor area, which requires an addition that will be capped by a gable roof, which I'll show you shortly. And furthermore, again, to increase more floor area in what was once another small bedroom, bumping out the back side of the roof here to create a more modern size bedroom. Going on to the existing elevations or the existing photos of what currently exists. So the design of the house that exists there now, the vocabulary very much reflects how the floor plan is laid out. And Mr. Bowman at the time wanted to express how the floor plan was laid out and its use through the language of the elevations and the use of material and the use of scale. So this being the main entrance, holding the main entry, the living room, the master suite, having the highest ridgeline of the entire house. And then the language from there, everything steps down from the highest ridge. And back in 1935, this was the servants' corridor, and this is where the owners of the home resided. So again, following that vernacular and that vocabulary, we continued that language into the addition. So as you can see, we're working off of this ridge line here, continuing it over to extend the roof up at a higher elevation to make the second bedroom on the, or the enlarged bedroom on the second floor, more of a modern size, and stepping down the roof line as Mr. Bowman did on the south side of the residence to, again, help with the scale of this and again, the vocabulary of the hierarchy of the home. This being, I guess, the front elevation or the east elevation, it's going to be entirely cladded out of the same stone material, color, scale, and grout color as what currently exists, matching the existing arched openings that happen predominantly throughout the perimeter of the home, having the same wrought iron railings, again, that exist predominantly around the perimeter of the home, and then continuing the terracotta roof shingle tile onto this addition, of which we've found a vendor out of New Lexington, Ohio, that was actually the original manufacturer for the roof shingles on this house that's going to match the patina stain texture and color of the shingles so that there is a continuity between new and old. So this being the existing north elevation of where we're putting this patio addition, this being the rear elevation, or the west elevation, this being the north elevation where that existing covered porch currently exists that they want to replicate on the north side. And then here are some other general images. Moving on, this being the north elevation, again, carrying that language across the north elevation, stone veneer, arched openings, wrought iron. And here is where you start seeing the more of the expensive finishes kind of being peeled away to less stone and more of the painted wood surfaces, for example, clapboard, which is pretty much a continuation of what's happening here. So the original vocabulary of this home is that as you wrap the corner, the stone as it went above the basement line kind of disappeared, and more of the painted white siding presented itself. So continuing that vocabulary on the north side, on the east side, continuing it again, having a stone base. This is actually going to be a garbage enclosure that's going to mimic one of the existing garage doors, but to help delineate architecturally one from the other, we just removed the round glass window. More of that wrought iron railing, similar columns, trimmed painted white columns that currently exist in other areas of the house, carrying the same 14-inch tall frieze board and trim molding around this area, copper gutters, and then again, the terracotta roof. This is the other addition that holds the entertainment room. And this is the new dormer that holds an egress window for the new bedroom, or for the enlarged bedroom. And then this is the existing trimmed opening that is currently a screened opening that is now incorporated into the kitchen, that we're putting a solid piece of glass pane, again, to really keep the architecture intact. And then, this may take a little while to load, the renderings. This being the east elevation, or the front elevation, this being the existing structure, these being 3 existing dormers. This is where we're raising the ridge line on this lower ridge line to accommodate that enlarged bedroom, and then again stepping down the roof line as Mr. Bowman did here on the remainder of the house. Continuing that stone, the stone arches. Here it is from another perspective, from the north, and then from the rear, or west. And that's all.
Anybody else do? I think it's all beautiful. The only question I have is that kitchen arched window, that big piece of glass. Is there any precedent for that in the house anywhere? That's the only thing that doesn't look like it was always there. Everything else looks wonderful.
The intent is, well, the intent is to keep the aesthetic and the architecture exactly as it is right now. We're literally utilizing the existing columns, the existing base, the existing arched opening, removing the screen and replacing it with a piece of glass. Yes, this would be the largest piece of glass on the home, but it is an equal swap to what's there from insect screen to a fixed window pane.
Do you have a photograph of that as it is today?
I do. Right there.
Ah, okay. Well, then it makes sense. I still think it looks odd even today, but it makes sense now. So, comments on the board?
I think it's nicely done with
Yes.
respect to the original house,
Yes, very carefully
and
done. Very nice.
all the details thought out pretty well.
It's a beautiful house and beautiful project. Well done.
Yep, I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good night.
Oh, good night.
Thank you again, Daisy, for your help.
Sure.
Well, that was the first full night we've had in 10 years.
Yeah.
We can
I
have more
think
of
the
this?
next, I think the next one we've already got quite a few. So
Really?
I still have
Take a
another
dinner
week for
break.
people to submit.
Yeah, it's time for business to pick up. I would expect it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys want to have a limit, or do you just want it as many as?
Well, I do remember 15 years ago, and there were 2 pages, and we stayed really late. So
We used to stay very late.
Some of them go pretty quick, though. I mean, some of them are 5
Well,
minutes.
we spent a lot of time on Ludlow, and that was unfortunate.
right,
Hmm.
unfortunate. Yeah. But no, I think it's okay.
All right. Well, I'll see you on the 17th.